3.39, that is Udana. So Udana Jayat Jala Panka Kantaka Adishu Asanga Utkranti Chaha. Utkranti means we know levitation. Going up, levitation. Udana Jayat, we know there are 5 main pranas and 5 upapranas. So out of that, we know that Udana is one of the main pranas. And Udana is the pran that lives in our body in the last, after our death. When all the pranas they leave, Udana is the last pran that leaves our body. So here Patanjali Rishi is saying that when we practice Sanyam on this Vayu, that is Udana Vayu, then what happens? Jala, that means water. Panka, Panka means mud. And Kantaka means thorns. Adishu Asanga, they don't harm us or there is no contact. So after attaining mastery over the Udana Vayu, which is one of the main Vayu out of the Panchapran, the practitioner becomes unaffected by water, mud and thorns. And Utkranti means he can leave his body whenever he wants. Now, what do you mean by he's unaffected by water, mud and thorns? So there are, we have heard about instances where, the yogi is walking on the water, or even if he's walking on the thorns, they don't pierce us. So he's not affected, or they don't harm him in any way. That is the meaning of Udana Jai over here. So he is unaffected by water, mud and thorns. Then next is Samana. Now here Patanjali Rishi is telling about Samana Vayu. Samana Jayat Jwalanam. So if you practice Sanyam on Samana Vayu, then what happens? Jwalanam. Jwalanam means affluence. Okay? Jwalanam means affluence, or we can say the radiance. So if you practice Sanyam on Samana Vayu, then what happens? You get extraordinary radiance or effulgence. Brilliance begin to appear in the yogi's body. For example, Sant Jnaneshwar, if you know the story, once Sant Jnaneshwar and his sister, Muktabai didn't have anything, fire. At that time, they used to cook on the fire. They didn't have gas like us. So she didn't have, because nobody wanted to share anything with them. So she wanted to prepare something called as mande. We call it in Marathi, it is called as mande. It is like not roti as such, but sort of that. So she asked Jnaneshwar, her brother, what to do. So Jnaneshwar said, wait, I'll help you. And then he bent and he said, now do it on my back. So what he did, he generated heat in his body in such a way that his back, it acted as a what we say, that electric stove or something that we get, right? So it was so hot that she could, not fry as such, but hastat, we call it in English. She prepared her food on his back. So that is the kind of power that a yogi or a practitioner is able to generate. Then, next is Kshotra Akashayoho Sambandha Sanyamat Divyam Shrotram. Shrotra Akashayo Sambandha. Previously also we have studied on Shrotra, but here it is said that if you practice Sanyam on the connection between the Shrotra means ears, and Akash. We know Akash is everywhere. So if a yogi practices Sanyam on the connection between Shrotra, that is our ears, and Akash, then what happens? Divyam Shrotram. That means he is able to hear divine sounds. For example, Bhagavad Gita told by Shri Krishna Kurukshetra was heard by Sanjay in his palace. So again, here previously also, Patanjali Rishi had mentioned the same Siddhi, but here he is telling it in a different way, that when you practice Sanyam on the relation between your ears and space, then you will be able to hear the subtlest of sound, like we had studied, like the sound of Omkar, or the sounds that we normally are not able to hear. The yogi starts hearing those sounds. Next is in 3.42. Kaya akashayoho sambandha sanyamat lagutula samapattehe cha akasha gamanam. Now here, Kaya akashayo sambandha sanyamat. Kaya means our body. Akash, space. Sambandha means the connection. So when we practice Sanyam on the relation of our body and the Akash, that is the space, then what is the result which Siddhi does a yogi attain? Lagutula samapatte. Lagutula samapatte, that means lagu, means very light. So his body becomes very light, just like a cotton or a feather. His body becomes that light. And Akasha Gamanam, that means he gets or attains the power to even fly in the sky or leviate himself in the sky. His body becomes so light. So, for example, like Hanuman, how he flew to Sri Lanka. Similarly, he made his body so light and he got the power of Akasha Gaman that he was able to fly to Sri Lanka. So that is a siddhi that a yogi attains. Then is Bahi akalpita vruttihi mahavideha tataha prakashavaranam kshaya. Bahi akalpita. Bahi means outside. Akalpita. Kalpita means when you imagine. Kalpana हम लोग जो करते हैं, we imagine. Kalpana. Akalpita means something that is unimaginable, something that we cannot imagine. So here akalpita means unimagined. When chitta is inside our body, we know whatever chitta is reading or experiencing. But when the chitta travels outside, bahya vritti, then it is called as akalpita. Very difficult to understand also. So this sutra, it is very difficult to explain. So you have to understand only this much here, that you have to learn the sutra as it is. So bahi akalpita vritti, even while being in contact with the body. So that chitta or the mind is in contact with the body. The mind engages in interaction with objects outside the body. So the mind is able to interact with the objects or the things that are outside the body also. That is called as Mahavideha Vritti. And through this concentration, the veil that covers the light of knowledge is destroyed. And when you practice or when you concentrate in this one like this, or when you practice Sanyam in this way, then what happens? The veil of ignorance is destroyed. The veil that covers the light of knowledge is destroyed. That means jnana prapt hota hai. Agyan nasht hota hai. Ignorance is destroyed and you gain knowledge. So here you just have to remember that when the mind is in contact, even when the mind, our chitta is within our body, it is in contact with the body, still the mind, it engages in interaction with the objects that are outside the body. And that is called as Mahavideha Vritti. And what is the result of Mahavideha Vritti? That is Prakasha Varnam Kshay. Prakasha Varnam Kshay. This effect or benefit was also seen previously in Sadhan Path. Effect of or benefit of practicing pranayam. When we practice pranayam, then Prakasha Varnam Kshay, the veil of ignorance is destroyed. The veil on the knowledge is destroyed and we gain knowledge. Then, in the next sutra, Sthula Svarupa Sukshma Anvay Arthavatva Sayama Bhuta Jayaha. Sthula, we know, means gross. Svarupa means the nature of the elements, the nature of the gross elements. Then is Sukshma. Sukshma means subtle. Anvay and Arthavatva. Now I'll explain it from here. Sthula, we know that earth, water, fire, all these Panchamahabhuta. Okay, these are the 5 great elements. So these are sthula, these are gross. Sthula, Then Swarupa. What is their Swarup? Their gross, their essential nature. That means, what is the essential nature? What is the nature of earth? Prithvi. What is the nature? It is hard. So hardness is the nature. That is the Swarup. Then what is the nature of water? The nature of water is liquid, liquidity. What is the nature of fire? Swarup. What is the Swarup of fire? Heat. Then what is the nature of air? Mobility. And what is the nature of Akash or ether? It is pervasiveness. So, Stula are the five Panchamahabhut. Then Swarup, as I told you, is their essential nature. Then the Sukshma. Now, what is the Sukshma state of Panchamahabhut? It is their Tanmatra. If you see the Sankhya chart, what is the subtle form of gross elements? It is the Panchamaha, it is the Tanmatra. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So that is their subtle state. Then Anvaya. Anvaya. Anvaya means the relation between them. The interpenetration. That means all these gross elements, then their Swarup, their Sukshma elements, there is interrelation between them. What is it? They are connected, they are interrelated with all the three gunas, that is Sattva, Raja, Tama. It is from these three gunas that they evolve. Right? And these three gunas, that is Sattva, Raja, Tama, how are they? Their quality is Prakasha, Kriya, and Sthiti. So that is their Anvaya Avastha. Trigun and Prakasha, Kriya, Sthiti. The relation between them, that is their interpenetration, that is the relation. Then is Arthavatva. Arthavatva means the purpose. Now, what is the purpose of Prakriti? What is the purpose? Or even what is the purpose of Pancha Mahabhut here? It is Bhogyan Apavarga to the Purush. So here Patanjali Rishi is saying that all the five gross elements, their essential nature, their Sukshma state, Anvaya, Arthavatva. By practicing Sanyam, when we practice Sanyam on all these aspects, either simultaneously or in sequence. So you can practice Sanyam either simultaneously or one by one. What happens? The yogi attains mastery over all the five great elements. So when a yogi practices Sanyam on Sthula, Swarupa, Sukshma, Anvaya, and Arthavatva, these five things. Sthula, Swarupa, Sukshma, Anvaya, and Arthavatva. What is the fruit of it? Bhutajaya. He attains mastery on Pancha Mahabhut. How does he attain? What is the fruit of, or how does he attain victory over Pancha Mahabhut? Sthula, Swarupa, Sukshma, Anvaya, and Arthavatva. In exam, they don't ask the meaning and everything. They ask you, what is the fruit of these, or how is Bhutajaya attained, or put in sequence, Sthula, Swarupa, Sukshma, Anvaya, Arthavatva, or what is the sutra number? These are the questions that are asked. Very important sutra. They don't ask, till now they haven't asked the meaning or anything from there. Now, once you attain Bhutajaya, what is the fruit of Bhutajaya? When once you have won over Pancha Mahabhut, then what happens? Tato animadi pradurbhavaha kaya sampat tat dharma anabhighatah. So what is fruit of Bhutajaya? Animadi. We know that the Ashtasiddhi, Anima, Mahima, Ragima, Garima, Prakamya, Prapti, Ishatva, and Vashitva. These are the Ashtasiddhis. So Patanjali Rishi here is saying Animadi. That means all the 8 siddhis. Pradurbhava, that means attained. The yogi attains. Kaya sampat, that means a special power is attained. Tat dharma anabhighata. Anabhighata means without any obstacle. So what happens when after attaining mastery over 5 great elements, that is Pancha Mahabhut, the yogi acquires first 8 supernatural powers, Ashtasiddhi, the special strength. He attains a special strength and the capability of the body to increase. And furthermore, the natural properties of the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, no longer obstruct or affect the yogi in any way. So there are 3 effects of or fruits of Bhutajaya. The first is the yogi attains Ashtasiddhi, 8 natural powers. He attains Ashtasiddhi. What is the second effect of Bhutajaya? Kaya Sampat. That means his body attains perfection, or you can say a high level of strength, strong body. Kaya Sampat. And third is Dharma Anabhighata. That means he is no longer affected by the Guna Dharma or the qualities of these Pancha Mahabhut. That what do you mean by not affected by qualities of the Pancha Mahabhut? That means fire cannot burn, water cannot wet. He is not, all these Pancha Mahabhut will not have any effect on the yogi. That is what it means over here. So what are the 3 effects or 3 fruit of Bhutajaya? First, Ashtasiddhi. Second, Kaya Sampat. And third is Dharma Anabhighataha, not affected by the Guna Dharma or Panchamahabhut. For example, we have seen the yogis in Himalayas. There is snow everywhere. But have you seen the yogis freezing in cold? Are they wearing sweaters or layers or body warmers? No. How does it happen? Because they are not affected by the Panchamahabhut. No matter how cold it is, no matter how hot it is, it doesn't bother them. It doesn't affect them at all because they have won over the Panchamahabhut. That's why they can stay in any condition. Next is Rupa Lavanya Bala Vajra Sauhanatvani Kaya Sampat. Now, what is the fruit of Kaya Sampat? So, before this, Patanjali Rishi told us what is the fruit of Bhutajaya. Tata Animadhi, Pradurbhava, Animadhi, that is Ashtasiddhi, then is Kaya Sampat and Dharma Anabhighataha. Further, Patanjali Rishi is telling that when a yogi attains Kaya Sampat, okay, then what is the fruit of Kaya Sampat? So what is the fruit of Kaya Sampat? Perfection in the body. What does that mean? So here Patanjali Rishi is telling that after practicing Sanyam on the 5 great elements, that is Bhutajaya, the yogi attains divine prosperity in the form of beauty. Rupa. Rupa means beauty. The yogi becomes beautiful. Lavanya, that is graceful, very attractive. You get attracted. There is, we do feel, just Sant Mahatma or someone who has a very strong aura, you get attracted with that person's personality. You feel, when you meet some people, you feel, okay, there is something in that person. That is different, and you get attracted towards that person's personality. You are impressed. So that is Lavanya. Bala, we all know, strength. Vajra. Vajra is adamantine hardness, very strong. His body becomes very, very strong. Sauhananatvani. Vajra Sauhananatvani. That means hard, like a Vajra. So his body becomes very hard and very strong. So what is the fruit of Kaya Sampat? First is Rupa, then Lavanya, then is Bala, and then is Vajra Sauhananatvani. These are the four fruits of Kaya Sampat. So when a yogi attains Bhutajaya, he attains three fruits. That is Ashtasiddhi, Kaya Sampat, and Dharma Anabhikhatah. Out of that, Kaya Sampat, when a yogi attains that, when a yogi practices Sanyam on that also, then what happens? He attains Rupa, Lavanya, Bala, Vajra Samhanaratvani. These are the three fruits of Kaya Sampat. Then further, Patanjali Rishi is telling, Grahana Swarupa Asmita Anvay Artha Vatva Sanyamat Indriya Jay. Now Patanjali first told about the Panchamahabhut, gross elements. What happens if you practice Sanyam on the gross elements? Now here Patanjali Rishi is telling what happens if you practice Sanyam on the Indriya, that are senses. That means the subtle elements. What happens? Grahana. Grahan means what? Grahan means the ability of the senses to understand the object. For example, now with your eyes you see, with your hands you can touch, with your nose you smell. That here it's saying that grahana. So you experience with your senses. Then is swarupa. Swarupa means its nature. Swarupa. For example, the nature of I-ness. It is like I-ness. That is the swarupa. इंद्रियों के कार्य जो होते हैं, it's work that the work does to experience. That is the swarupa. For example, tvacha. The swarupa of tvacha is tva. Then is asmita. Asmita means ego. Okay, now grahana swarupa, you are experiencing with your senses. But who is experiencing? I am experiencing. So I am seeing, I touch, I smell, I hear. So that I here is asmita. Anvay, we know. Anvay means the interpretation or the connection. Connection of whom? Connection of grahana, swarupa, and asmita. The connection between these three is called as anvay. Connecting these three together is anvay. And arthavatva, we know the purpose. What is the purpose of the senses? It is to give bhog and apavarga to the purush. So what happens when you, by practicing Sanyam on the five aspects of the senses, that means when you practice Sanyam on Indriya Jaya, then what happens? Grahana, Swarupa, Asmita, Anvay, and Arthavatva. The yogi attains complete mastery over all the senses. Then again, just like Bhuta Jaya, Patanjali Rishi now told us the fruit of Indriya Jaya. What will happen? Okay, you have got mastery over all the senses, that's fine. But what happens then? Tato manojavitvam vikarana bhavaha pradhana jaya. Manojavitvam. Man means our mind. So what happens? We know that I'm sitting here now, I'm in Bombay. Okay, my mind can travel to US, it can travel on the moon also. Okay, my mind can travel anywhere. Okay, it can travel to the south, this thing, I can travel to Singapore. Our mind, it can travel anywhere. But can our body travel? No. It is only that our mind can travel. So manojavitva means our body can travel as fast as our mind. Just like our body, just like our mind, our body also travels fast like our mind. So it is like time travel machine. How a person gets transported from one place to another. So that is attained by Indriya Jaya. So manojavitvam means your body, it can travel as fast as your mind. Then is vikarana bhava. Vikarana bhava means bhava is the experience. Vikarana means it can experience anything without actually experiencing it with the senses. Now, for example, if I eat a sabji, then I know how is it. It is sweet, it is bitter, it is spicy, it is like sour. What is the taste? But Vikarana bhava means without tasting, I come to know how is it, what is the taste. That is Vikarana bhava. And same with all the other senses. Without physically being present in a particular place, I know what has happened. I can hear, I can see even without those things. If those things are not taking place in front of my eyes, still I know what has happened. That is Vikarana bhava. Then Pradhana jay. Pradhana means Prakriti. So what happens when the fruit of Indriya jay is Pradhana jay? That means jay on Prakriti, winning over all the 23 elements of Prakriti. So what is the fruit of Indriya jay? Three fruits. Manojavitvam, Vikarana bhavaha, and third is Pradhana jay. Then fruit of Vivek Khyati. Now Patanjali Rishi is telling us that we have gained all this knowledge, the Siddhi, Viveka Khyati. So what is the fruit of Viveka Khyati? Sattva Purushayoho Anyatha Khyati Matrasya Sarva Bhava Adhishtatruttvam Sarva Jnatrutvam. A yogi who considers intellect, that means buddhi or sattva, and inert substances, that means the jad, as separate from the soul or jivatma, means again the same thing that was told previously. Those people or yogis or practitioners who considered the soul or the purush and prakriti as separate, those who gain these knowledge, those who understand this, gains mastery over all the present substances. So he gains mastery or authority over all the present substances, whatever is there around, and attains knowledge also of all the things. So he gains the knowledge also of all the things. That means there is nothing that is unknown to him. And that is Viveka Khyati. Sarva Bhava Adhishtatrutvam. So when a yogi or practitioner knows Sattva Purusha, that means the difference between Sattva means Buddhi and Purush. Anyatha Khyati Matrasya. That means the Purush and Sattva, that is Buddhi, both are different. When a yogi knows this, he gains this knowledge. Then what happens? Sarva Bhava Adhishtatrutvam. He gains authority over all the things that are present. He gets unlimited authority over them, or you can see control. Just like the CEO or the head of the company, he has control over all the employees, whatever verticals are there in the family. Or we can say in previously also in a big joint family, the senior most person, he had the authority over each and every family member. Whatever he said, nobody could say no to him. So he had the authority. Whatever he said was followed by everyone. So Sarva Bhava Adhishtatrutvam. And second is Sarva Jnatrutvam. He has the knowledge of everything. There is nothing now that is not known. He gets the knowledge of everything. So what is the fruit of Viveka Khyati? Two fruits. Sarva Bhava Adhishtatrutvam and Sarva Jnatrutvam. These are the two fruits that a yogi attains when he attains Viveka Khyati. Now, from many vrittis, we know initially, Vyuthana state. From many vrittis, we came to one vritti, that is Viveka Khyati. Now, we need to practice no vritti. From many vrittis, we came to Viveka Khyati. By Sanyam, by practicing yoga, by concentration, by Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. Only one vritti is remaining. In Vivek Khyati also, there is one vritti. Now what we need to do, we need to remove that vritti also. We need to eliminate that vritti also. So for that, then what happens if you eliminate tad vairagyatapi dosha bija kshaye kaivalyam? So this is the first sutra here where Patanjali Rishi is talking about kaivalya. So what is he telling? When a yogi attains vairagya from all the siddhis called vishoka, the 5 afflictions are destroyed, leading to the yogi to liberation even while alive. Tat api vairag. Now, here, till now, Patanjali told us about all the siddhis. Now, what he is telling, he is saying, practice vairagya from all the siddhis. That means be detached from it. Practice vairagya from all the siddhis. And also, dosha bija kshaya kaivalyam. Bija means the seed. Kshaya means destroyed. Destroy the seed. We know what seed of whom? Of the doshas. That means klesh. So destroy the seed of the doshas, of the bondage. Then we attain kaivalyam. That is kaivalya. So when we practice vairagya of all the siddhis, and when we destroy or when we get freedom from the seed of bondage or klesh, then what happens? The yogi or the practitioner, he attains kaivalya. So how do we attain kaivalya? That has been told over here. Then Patanjali Rishi tells, Sthanu upanimantrane sangasmaya karanam punaranishta prasangat. Sthani upanimantrane. Then what happens? When you attain a lot of knowledge, okay, you get popularity. People want you. People invite you. Okay, please come. We know that's how, even actor, actors, when they become very popular, they're invited for openings, for different things. Now, they're invited as a chief guest and they are given a lot of respect also. Then inauguration, they have to cut the ribbon and everything, then speech. But then what happens? Ego comes. Ego. I am great. I am the one who's, I am knowledgeable. I am so superior. People want me. That ahankar or that aham is generated or created in a person. And when ahankar is created, what happens? A person gets destroyed. That is what is told over here. Sthani upanimantrane. That means when invited by persons of high position or noble family, when people invite you, or here even celestial beings, Bhagwan, even the gods, they invite such a yogi that please come. Why? Because he is knowledgeable, he has attained a certain level, so he is wanted by everyone, even celestial gods. A yogi should not feel attachment, pride, or ego. What is told over here? Sangha, smaya. He should not get attached to them. Smaya, sangha means attachment. Smaya means pride. He should not be attached to it. He should not have the pride or ego about it. That yes, I am invited, I am great. Why? Because if at all that yogi is attached to it, that fame, that glory, that light you can see, then what happens? Doing so creates an opportunity to fall again from the path of yoga, because then he will not practice yoga. Whatever siddhis he has attained, whatever knowledge he has attained, there won't be any of use. It will be destroyed. And then he will fall from the path of yoga. So here it is told that no matter what happens, don't get attached or don't have the pride. No matter how much people try to, वो बोलते हैं ना चने के झाड़ पे चढ़ाते हैं. So no matter how much people invite you and say, oh wow, you are great, you're so good, don't get wavered. Don't lose your path. Otherwise, you will fall from the path. Then, now here, previously in 3.35, Vivek Khyati is achieved by Swartha Sanyam. Now, Patanjali Rishi is saying that Kshantatramayoho Sanyamat Vivekajam Jnanam. kshana tat kramayoho. That means we see a particular action taking place in a sequence. We cannot bifurcate into seconds. But here Patanjali Rishi is telling kshana tat kramayoho. That means when we practice, a yogi practices sanyam, dharana, dhyan, samadhi on every moment, fraction of a moment also, and its sequence, how it is happening, then the yogi attains Viveka Gyan. So, how does a yogi attain Viveka Gyan? When he practices Sanyam constantly on every kshan and the sequence of every moment, then he attains Viveka Jnana. So, by practicing Sanyam on each moment, that is kshan, and the continuity of the moments, that means its sequence or kram, the yogi attains Viveka Jnana. Now, time is accumulation of moment upon moment. How is the time? It is the moments together that we call it. Okay, I had a great time. So whatever 2 3 hours we spend, those were moments, kshan together. Was that time? So it is accumulation of moments, and it always exists in the present. Due to the passage of time and expectation of waiting, just because the time has passed. Now I said, oh, I'm teaching. After 1 hour, I'll say, oh, I taught some time back. Half an hour ago, I was teaching. So past, future, that takes place. Why? Because time is constantly passing away. But actually, time itself is always in the present. Within its womb lies all knowledge and wisdom. Therefore, Maharshi Patanjali says that when one performs Sanyam between most subtle units of time, that is kshana, when we practice Sanyam on kshana, then we attain Viveka Jnana. Then Jati Lakshan Deshaihi Anyat Anvachedat Tulyos Tatah Pratipattihi. Jati, Lakshan, and Desh. Now, Jati. Jati means what? I have explained over here. A group of objects or substances of the same kind is called as Jati. For example, now mangoes. There are different types of mangoes, right? So one is hapus, like hapus amba, then is bangan palli, keshri amba, or mango. So these are the different jatis of mangoes. Then characteristics or lakshan. So within these, there are certain marks or identifiers. Lakshan means what? There are certain identifiers through which it is determined what specific object or substance it is. And that is called as lakshan. For example, if I take a hapus amba, there is a certain specific characteristic of that mango, because of which it is called as hapus. If I take other mango and which is of different jati, I will not say that, okay, it is hapus amba. Why? Because the quality of this mango and the other mango is different. It could be the sweetness, it could be the color, it could be the shape. So these are the characteristics which differentiate those two things. That is called as lakshana. Third is sthana. So hapus, mango, they grow in a particular place. Keshri or banganfelli, they grow in a different place. So location means different places. The same object, substance or person may appear differently in form, color, activity and behavior when in different locations. Or even wherever we are, okay, simple example. Now I am married. If when I'm at my in-laws place, my body language, my speech, my dress up, thought process, way of reacting, acting will be different. When I go to my mom's place, the way I dress up, the way I act, talk, absolutely will be different. So when the location changes, things also change. That is what is told over here, that through discriminative knowledge, when a yogi attains Viveka Jnana, what happens? He is able to differentiate between subtle things which normally you cannot distinguish. Now, for example, another example, if a mother has twins, identical twins, only a mother can distinguish between both, which one is which. No other can distinguish. Only a mother knows that this one is Ram and that one is Sham. How does she know? It is that Viveka Jan or Viveka Jnan, she only knows because she is connected with her kids. So only it is her who knows that subtle difference between the two kids. And that she the only one who can tell the difference. It's a simple example that I'm giving for you to understand. So what is Viveka Jnana? Viveka Jnana means the yogi. He attains the awareness, or he's able to distinguish between the subtlest of things, even though no matter how identical they are. To the entire world, those things might look same, but he knows the difference. He will know the difference between jati, lakshan, and sthana. It is only attained by Viveka Jnana. Then Tarakam Sarva Vishayam Sarvatha Vishayam Akramam Che Eti Vivekajam Jnanam. Then what happens? The knowledge arising from the yogi's own practice. So when the yogi is practicing so much, continuously, it enables him to know all objects and their aspects across all times. So now for that yogi, past, present, future doesn't make any difference. He doesn't have to know everything in sequence only. He can know, or he has a knowledge of what happened in past, what will happen in the future, and there is no sequence that is needed. That is called as discriminative knowledge, or knowledge arising from Viveka. So when you attain Viveka Jnanam, what happens? A yogi, a practitioner, he can know anything from past, present, and future without knowing, or without the sequence. Not knowing, without a sequence. So he doesn't have to follow a particular sequence. Without that also he knows everything. That is called as Viveka Jnana. Then is 3.55. Sattva Purushayoho Shuddhi Samye Kaivalyam Iti. Sattva Purushayoho, that means when Buddhi and Purush, Shuddhi Samye, that means both become Shuddha, pure. Both are become pure equally, even Buddhi as well as Purush. When they are at par and they're pure equally, then what happens? The yogi attains Kaivalya or Moksha. When does a yogi attain Kaivalya or Moksha? When Buddhi and the soul or Purush, they are purified to the same degree. Their purification is same. Then the yogi attains Kaivalya. It's like a drop of water. So it was simple. I like this wording. Just like a drop of water was taken away from the ocean. Now what has happened? That drop of water is again put in the ocean and it merges with the ocean. It becomes one with the ocean. That is Kaivalya, or that is Moksha. With this, we finish Vibhuti part. Yeah. For you all, I have put forth in the table what I had told you. That's Sanyam. Sanskrit words also, English words also. What is the Vibhuti that you get by practicing those Sanyam?